Hello everyone, welcome back. This episode of Bitcoin Trade. I'm just going to do straight chart analysis, um, maybe something to share. I'm not sure, but if you're wondering why I haven't done a video in a long time, it's because I've been very busy, and when you do a lot of traveling and trying to expand your enterprise, um, it takes quite a bit of effort to do that, and then when you come home you realize you got to take care of you know you got to take care of, of home base first, and doing that is more important than trying to overreach and overexpand too quickly. So anyways, I'll start with the chart analysis, and we'll go on from there and see what happens. So in my previous episodes, or my previous episode I should say, I mentioned how this could be a possible wave 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it seemed that way. But now that I'm looking back, and this is always the thing about trading is, or doing a chart analysis or looking at charts or trading off of charts, is you don't know what happens until after it's happened. This is still a possible trend reversal as far as I can see it, and I'll try to give you some good indications of the way I see it and how and why. So far, as you know, it's been going down, but I mentioned that you could see a possible trend reversal here, and there's some signs of it. For example, this is probably the low, and then what you got here is something that is a higher high than the previous high, or even that high. So I mentioned the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 indications, and then as it comes down 3/4 of the way, and then breaks above this high, and is longer as far as from bottom to top, from this bottom to top, and it also actually finished higher right here than this high, and actually went up higher. This is on a, this is on a Bitfin on a 12-hour. So those were some indications that I mentioned, and those were pretty good indications. But what happened after was the subsequent retracement, or going back down, and it came down pretty quick too. Kind of bounced around some of these averages, but finally broke through, and you see these crossover, and these are weighted average, and which is all right, because there's a couple scenarios you could take a look at. One being that this was never the first wave, and this is actually the first wave. So this is the first wave, and now this is the second wave. So you don't really know this until after fact, or this is the first wave, second wave, this is the third wave, which there's a good indication that it could be the third wave. But the thing about wave theory is that there are waves within waves within waves, right? So although this could be the third wave, and this is third, fourth, and then a fifth, which is usually the last step going up, which is never really the longest. The third is usually typically the longest. So the fifth wave might reach up to a little bit higher than the last high, and which I think I mentioned, it came pretty close. It was 475. I've said it was going to be about 500. So this fifth wave could reach about 500, and that's another possibility. So there's waves within waves. So while this is the fifth wave going on, what's could be happening is that this is the first wave within another wave. And this is the crazy part about wave theory, is that there are waves within waves within waves. So this could be now the first wave of a new wave coming in within this part of the third part of the wave. So this is the first wave, second wave, and it has the same repeated patterns that you'll see in this wave. It went up, comes down 2/3 of the way, and then the third wave going up higher. Now within this wave here, this wave pattern, you have a beginning of another wave, which is the first wave, the second wave coming down 2/3 of the way, and then another third wave, which is basically a possible third wave, or this is the fifth wave. So a lot of, that's the thing about wave theory is, the waves within waves, that it just, you know, gets it really confusing. So now you got to figure out which wave are you in. Well, I kind of don't exclusively do wave theory. I notice that there is something to it, but I look at some other indicators as well. One of the other indicators of that I look for is the last high higher than the previous high, and the previous high below that, and as well as the lower, the lows are the lows higher than the previous lows. And so I'll give you an example is, this is being a low, and this is the high. And so this one is the low, and so this low is higher than the previous low. And so based on that, I'm saying that there's some movement going up, as well as here, high, higher than the last high. Same here, this high being higher than this high. So there's some kind of trend going upwards, is what I can tell. And so here, if you look at here, if it stops there, it's still a higher high, a higher low than the previous low. And also you can incorporate some lines, which I'll do some here. So this is where your experience in trading and different indicators, different signals come in really handy. So I'm going to just draw some lines here. No. Let's draw some lines. And so, okay, now I drew a line from the last low to last low, and it's coming up right here, which when I saw this coming down, I figured it might try to follow a trend line. And so this could be a great opportunity to buy. It's worth the risk. Like I said, there's no such thing as a forward indicator. It's only a forward indicator because you're taking the risk in whatever you're gonna position yourself to do. So there is no indicator that's gonna tell you whether it's gonna go up or down. I'll tell you that right now. If you are trading on indicators or oscillators or whatever, or even these lines, there's no 100%. So don't, or even when these cross, does that mean it's going to sell? It just means that it's just turned over, and that's pretty much it. There's no guarantee to any of these trades or anything that I even talk about. But I hope it helps, because what I've been talking about has been, well, it's been helpful for me, and I hope it's helpful for you. So, and I'll talk about some other things as well, but you could draw some lines and you say, hey, there's might be a good buying opportunity here, or you could say to yourself, I want to cut out because I might have bought something down here, and if this is going to break below this, it might fall dramatically, because then you'll see a break through a supporting trend line here. So, but for me, I've taken a different position. As the prices are going down, I'm trying to preserve my buying power, my purchasing power. And in some ways, when you trade in Bitcoin, you don't really trade Bitcoin per se. You do, but another way to think about it is you're trading purchasing power. So I've said many times, to empower yourself, well, one way to do it is to increase your purchasing power. And by doing that effectively, you can buy more things with the same amount of money. So your $10, well, a year ago can still buy you $10 worth of stuff today. It's not going to buy you $5 worth of stuff. So increasing your purchasing power, or even, or amazingly, or even if your $10 can buy $100 today. I mean, that's possible. So another way to think about trading Bitcoin or trading in general, um, is you're just transferring that value around to the point you're preserving it and somewhat increasing your purchasing power. So in some ways, you could say that you're trading purchasing power. And another way to think about it is, and this is kind of why I've been traveling all over America, and eventually I'll travel all over the world. But purchasing power, just like the U.S. dollar, or just like Bitcoin or anything, fluctuates in value. And if you really think about it, a lot of people use gold as a measuring stick to measure everything else. Measure the value of currency, legal tender, to measure value of bitcoins, or some physical commodity where you're measuring something against another thing to determine the value. Well, I guess at some point you realize that everything's more about what you can get for one item over another item, or versus another item. And at some point you realize, well, it's not really the item that you're interested in, it's what the purchasing, and I say purchasing power, but let's say the power to exchange, the value of exchanging something for another item. You realize that in itself has become a form of tradable commodity, or tradable good in some way. So value itself has become valuable. I know that sounds ridiculous, but my point is, the reason I've been traveling a lot and I'm trying to establish, trading in different places, is even though $1 is still the same dollar, whether it's in New York or in California or in Texas or Atlanta or Chicago, Ohio, you name it, anywhere, it's still $1. That's true. But what's different is the purchasing power, the value, what you can purchase, the value, what you can trade on that $1, or on that one Bitcoin, however you want to see it. I'm just trying to talk in a way that maybe people who don't trade in Bitcoin can understand. For those of you who trade in Bitcoin, you probably know what I'm talking about. You could take one Bitcoin, and your purchasing power is different wherever you go. And in some places, you can't sell your Bitcoin. In other places, you can't sell enough of your Bitcoin, right? Or vice versa. In some places, you can't even buy a Bitcoin. Other places, they just you couldn't. People are just giving it to you for free. Not that, well, they don't give it to you for free, but you're getting a really good deal, a good trade, versus your dollar versus Bitcoin, and what you're getting. So it's not like you have to really trade one currency over another. You can trade what I would call purchasing power, or the power of the value of an exchange within a how can I say this, within a region where it's still the same currency. So like in America it'd be the US dollars, in Europe it'd be the euro. So that's why I say region, I don't say country. So in some sense, when you trade Bitcoins, you're trading the power, the value the power of the value of what you're trading, or trading for, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. So that's why I'm establishing operations in different areas, because I know in one area there may be too many, or too much value on a Bitcoin, or less value on a dollar, um, or whatever you can buy for a dollar or Bitcoin in that area versus another area. And what I'm doing is I'm arbitraging that that power. All right, I'm utilizing my power in one area and arbitraging that same power in another area, and vice versa. So you don't have to travel the world per se, or do exotic currency exchanges or anything. I'm trying to do some of that just to get into the country, because my U.S. dollars aren't very good in another country. It's worthless. It's really just a piece of paper. But Bitcoins, on the other hand, it has a purchasing power. Depends where you go, but if you need to start somewhere, that's a good start. Depends where you go. Anyways, that's another whole other discussion. And so what I'm trying to say is, if you think in terms of the value of what you can purchase, that's what I'm really trading here. And so, if you really want to understand what Bitcoin is, Bitcoin's amazing. It is whatever you want it to be, because Bitcoins don't exist. It's nothing. It doesn't exist until you manifest it in reality. You got to remember, Bitcoins it's just an idea that utilizes virtual reality. And in some ways, it's very valuable in virtual reality. It's a commodity, it's a resource, it's a finite resource to some degree. You could say that. But how do you turn that into something real? And that's what I've been trying to say. I'm gonna make it real. And so I am taking literally nothing and manifesting that nothing into whatever I concoct in my head, whatever I can imagine, whatever I believe. So the value, where does value come from? It comes from within you. You have the power. The power to change the world is within you. And since you are the creator of value, and you have the power to change the world, that's very, very empowering. And when you realize that you can, well, first of all, you're not a slave. You never were. You're all deceived. You've all been lied to. You don't owe anything to anyone. And so once you realize how you can take something from within you, which is whatever it may be, I don't know, it's different for everyone. But, if you believe in something, if you have an idea, how can you manifest that into the physical world? For me, it's, I'm literally creating my virtual reality. And that's what I'm making real. And whatever I create, I don't know, whatever I want. Whatever I want. But the amazing thing is, until I started interacting with Bitcoins, and I have to be very specific with Bitcoin specifically, because I haven't had a chance to interact with any other cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin specifically just works out for me really well. Um, and as you know, I've said in my previous videos why I believe that it works well for me is because I co-create with the creator and I make it real. And so, you know, I just want to share that with you. Hopefully that sheds some light about maybe what I'm talking about here. So, anyways, I use Bitcoin in that way, and I guess I know this is chart analysis, but I guess I'll talk about a little experience here. I just want to give my experience, because when you trade in Bitcoin, I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding. They see it as a non-reversible payment or non-reversible money, which is true. It's non-reversible. You know, once you send it, you can't pull it back. And I think you know, for those who don't truly understand the full potential, the whole understanding of what Bitcoin is and how it works, they only see that small sliver of it, and unfortunately I think a lot of people have turned to fraudulent behavior, and I think it's foolish. And in a lot of ways, you know, I've said you're committing suicide, and you're probably wondering, well, I'm not going to kill myself. Why would I kill myself? You know, I'm just scamming people left and right, making money, you know, going out as like a bandit, you know, and being, you know, rich. I bought a car, I bought a whatever, I paid my house, and well, you know, it's almost like, and I'll try to compare this to in a way that people understand. It's almost like you're stealing dirt or sand. It's everywhere. You just don't realize that it's available to you at will for you to manifest into reality. And I think for those people who don't fully understand what it is, they only see that sliver. And if you're scamming, you're a fool. You're just the biggest fool. You're more of a fool than I am. If you have to scam, that tells me right away that you know nothing about Bitcoins, and that you are incapable of manifesting your beliefs, your ideas into reality. You're incapable of doing that. And so for you to actualize a manifestation of reality, you have to steal someone else's reality in order to do that. So that's my take on it, and it's unfortunate for those. I've kind of encountered a lot of scammers, and you know, I tell them, you know, they're jumping over $100 to pick up a penny, and I guess they just think I'm just, you know, fucking around with them, but I really do mean that. You guys are literally jumping over $100, $1 million. You guys are jumping over. Literally, you guys are jumping over a lot of, I guess, wealth. I don't know how you want to see it. I'm just trying to talk in your terms, because all, you know, people just see money, and that's kind of, they get stuck on that. I mentioned many times that money is just an illusion. But you guys are jumping over a gazillion dollars to pick up a penny, and you're going, haha, I stole this penny from you. and I'm just like mystified. I'm very mystified at that. But anyways, another way to look at it is, how can I say this in a way that would really offend a lot of scammers, to the point where you would realize what you're doing is pathetic. I'm not angry at you, it's just I just don't understand why you would do this. But let me try to put it in a way that maybe that would help you guys out. Um, uh, a scammer is kind of like a person who can't get laid, and I only say that because a lot of these people are probably men. The scammers are like people, are like guys who can't get laid, so you got to like masturbate to get get your kicks, get your simulated sex, and that's what a scammer is. A scammer is nothing more than a person who basically jerks off to 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 have sex. They're having sex with themselves. They're masturbators. Um, that's what a scammer really is. Now, if and the weird part is they look at someone and they see someone who gets laid all the time, and they're like, I want that. I want that. So they gotta, pretend to be like you, act like you, and they want to mimic you. What I'm talking about is basically stealing your identity for the most part, or trying to steal your trust. A lot of these wannabe scammers, my experience with them is they'll try to um, take over your identity, your virtual identity. Um, so to get other people to trust them, and so what? So these scammers, they see someone who's very successful, and they'll try to steal their identity. And identity thieves, that's what they do for the most part. They steal someone else's identity, someone else's good credit, and tries to be them. So if they really knew um, where value comes from, they would realize that they have just the same access as anybody else, even me. And not only that, there's no limit to this. There's no limit to it, to this power that you have within you. There's no limit. It's limitless. So I just find it weird. That's my take on it. Hopefully that helps some of you. Hopefully. Anyways, let's go back on the chart analysis here. I'll come back here. So you see the line, and if it stops here, then I guess that's good. My whole point is drawing that line is not to get back into lines or anything. It's just, my point is, you're seeing it was going down. Now you're seeing a slight up trend here, and some of the clues are very simple if you look at them. Higher lows than the previous, and if this is where it stops, will be a higher low than this. If you look at the highs, higher, this is the high, and this is a higher high. So obviously, if you just are able to recognize the trend, you'll see that if it does go up, it'll be a higher high, and then if it just continues on to that kind of a trend where you're seeing a higher high, higher high, higher high, higher low, higher low, higher low, you're seeing a gradual turning of the trend from a downtrend to maybe a sideways, but it looks like a little bit up, to maybe an uptrend. If you're able to recognize and see that, you're able to play the market, right? You're playing the market if you're trading. So one of the strategies that I'm starting to employ, instead of trying to accumulate, uh, virtual dollars or virtual currency, not bitcoins, but the virtual, U.S. dollar or virtual yen or virtual euro, whatever. Uh, if you're trading on exchange or you're trading, through your bank account, the bank account's just virtual. Um, you know, Instead of accumulating that, I'm starting to accumulate more bitcoins. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to now gain in Bitcoin versus fiat currency. And a couple things I'm doing is I'm also utilizing that to do arbitrage through the exchanges now. I said it's possible, but it's only possible because now I've traded so much and I've made gains, and now with those gains I'm just going ahead and I'm buying bitcoins and I'm letting it float, because I have essentially there is no risk for me on that part. My initial investment has paid for those bitcoins to be bought. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just literally trading off of profited gains, if that makes sense. And I'm holding on to bitcoins because my whole plan, my whole goal all this time was not to make as much fiat currency as I could. My whole point was to gain in bitcoins because I value bitcoins. And so if you are the creator of value, you have to realize, where are you putting your faith into? What vehicle or what thing are you creating value with? And so with this new strategy I'm taking, and it changes too. Like if it's not always. I'm ultimately always gaining in Bitcoin. That's my ultimate goal. So although I might be shorting Bitcoin once in a while here and there, the whole point of it is so I can get more Bitcoins. I mean, that's just my ultimate goal. Anyways, so now I'm taking a different strategy where I'm trying to gain in Bitcoin, not gain in any fiat currency or any virtual fiat currency. So I'm taking very long. I've always taken long positions in Bitcoin, but now I am actually gaining in Bitcoin. Before then I was gaining in virtual fiat currency. But the whole point of that was I can buy more Bitcoins at a lower price, which I'm really starting to do, and now because of that, I'm getting to a point where I can do some arbitrage through the different exchanges and in reality. In my opinion, I still think doing arbitrage in reality is much better than through the exchanges. But when you're not able to do arbitrage in reality, there's always the exchanges. There's always the market. So that gives me the advantage. And if you're smart, it would give you that same advantage as well. I mean, all this what I'm talking about is all available to you, even to the scammers who are just, nothing more than just masturbators, jerking off. They're a bunch of jerk-offs. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, all this is available to you. I don't understand why some people don't utilize what's out there. But whatever works. More for me. Doesn't really matter. I don't care about any of you guys. This is all for your benefit, not really mine, but I'm sharing it with you. So, anyways, there's some ideas on what's going on. Again, we can pull back a little bit more, and you can kind of see it in the longer, and this is a daily, and you can really see this is a downturn. And now that I'm back further, I'm going to talk about something that I came across in forex trading, my research in how to do it. If you're all in forex trading, or if you're in any one of those regulated markets, I really feel they're rigged. They're rigged to a point where there's a lot of inside trading, a lot of manipulation, and the only reason why it's that's possible is because they're regulated. Um, so it's not really a free market; it's a closed market. And ironically, it's it sounds great when things are regulated. There's someone watching over, but what it really, from what I've seen, is it only allows certain participants to profit and everybody else to pay for those profits through those participants. It's not an open market, in my opinion. But anyways, that's just my opinion. But one of the things I was researching they're called turtle trading. I don't know if anyone heard of that. Simple idea. A lot of things I do use. Some of the ideas where I'm following the highs all the way down until it hits up against the high. Also, following the lows when you're following the trend up. Those ideas that come from turtle trading. Also, using weighted average versus simple average, another one of those things I've learned. And so, if you research that, I think that might help you. I get a lot of my ideas and from that with a combination of other things, lines and waves, and so there's a lot of things. Eventually, you start building a strategy of your own, and you get to a point where trading becomes your way of life now, and it's become my way of life. So I've literally become an investor, and now instead of like I mentioned this before, it's a inside out backwards experience for me. I've gone straight to investing. I'm doing this from the inside, working my way out and going backwards to investor, business owner, self-employed. And there's some challenges to it, but I have to admit I've really benefited from this whole experience. I don't regret anything, even though I'm attacked every day. I'm scrutinized every day. Challenges come up to me every day. I don't regret anything because it's really changed my life. And because of that, I'm going to change the world. So, anyways, I hope that helped. Research turtle trading. That really helps. I don't follow exact turtle trading, but the idea and the concepts of it helps me trade. And I've tried it with stocks and different things, and it doesn't seem to work. But it seems to work with Bitcoin for me. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this is, for the most part, an unregulated market, at least for me and what I do. I'm not doing this for anybody. I'm doing this for myself. But what I'm doing is going to be shared with the rest of the world. And the biggest difference is that you're not in a closed market. Although the exchange may be considered centralized, whatever, the fact is that you can still take your Bitcoins. If everything goes smooth, you can take your Bitcoins and you can just take possession of it, so to speak. You know, you can own those Bitcoins. They're yours. They're not, you know, the exchange's Bitcoin. They are when it's there, but you can take them out and you can put it in your own wallet, and you can do things with them. You can leverage your Bitcoin. You can insure your Bitcoin. You can use your Bitcoin as insurance, as a hedge. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can make it into a car. You can make it into a building. You know, Bitcoins can become whatever you want it to be because they don't exist. It's just it's whatever your imagination can take you. You know, and when you realize, wow, you know, Bitcoins don't exist, but things are happening, where's all this coming from? It's coming from you. It's coming from within you. And, you know, you can make it real. How I make it real for me is because I co-create with the creator. And I make it real. That's for me anyway. I don't know if that's for you. But I'm just sharing that. Throwing it out there. Anyways, I think I talked long enough. Sorry this is a long episode, but you're all probably wondering what's going on with the price, what's happening here. It went up, then it went down. I'm freaking out. So, anyways, that's my view on what's happening. Hopefully this is going to help you with your trading. And, you know, I guess this is it. That's the end of the episode. Feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, even do a video response. Until next time, stay tuned.